Hi folks, welcome to another Chief Steamer video. This is part 2 of our maintenance series. We're going to show you how to drain the boiler, how to keep your machine clean, and how to avoid long-term problems. In our previous video, we discussed why it's so important to drain your boiler and to keep the machine clean. In this video, we're going to show you how to drain the boiler. It's simple, it's piece cake, we want it done, it needs to be done so we don't have any problems. Now, this is a boiler. This is a boiler out of our refill machine. And on the very bottom, as we said, there's the boiler drain plug. So what you're going to do with your actual machine is you're going to turn it on its side or you're going to turn it upside down. This is going to be done with zero pressure and the machine ice cold. That's extremely important. We can't stress that enough. So the first thing we want to do is drain the water out of the boiler. Now, to drain the water out of the boiler, this Allen key, which came with the kit, this is going to unscrew the drain plug. It's like changing oil in your car. So there's a little rubber flapper on the bottom base of the machine. It's going to be closed like this. When you see it, when you turn the machine over, you're going to open it up and that's going to expose your drain plug. So here's your drain plug, here's your tool. It's as simple as putting the tool in and slowly starting to unscrew it. Now, if this is at all hot, you're going to see steam or you're going to see water escape. If you think it might be too hot to drain, take your tool and just wiggle it around a little bit. What that'll do is it'll bleed out some excess steam and some hot water. If you think it's too hot to do it, don't do it. If it's under pressure, don't do it, because this cap can become a projectile and the steam, the cap, and the hot water can scald you. If you know the machine is cold from overnight, then go ahead and unscrew your drain plug. Now, you'll have to turn the machine back right side up. We're expecting water to come out of here and there might be some milky substance, that's calcium. If you get nothing to drain out of the boiler, unless we have a problem with the pump and it's not filling the boiler, you might have let the calcium build up to a point where this is actually plugged, where there might be just a blockage here. So take your drain plug tool and just kind of poke it. Just kind of poke it like this to get that out, and then let the water run out. Let it run out until nothing comes out anymore, and then we're simply going to put the drain plug back in. If your O-ring seal on your drain plug looks good, then you can put it back. You don't have to replace the O-ring. If it's all torn up and you don't think it's going to make a seal, then replace the O-ring. So start it one thread at a time, screw it in by hand, and then just take your tool, get it snug but not over tight, and then give it another 1/8 of a turn, and we're good to go. So now this boiler is inside your machine. Now if you're doing this once a week, then you should be okay. Draining the boiler is basically all that we would want to do if you're going to do it on a regular basis. If you're not doing it on a regular basis and you get that no water coming out and we had to poke it to get the water out, you're probably going to need a little bit more. Now, this is what can happen if the boiler does not get drained for a really long time. You're going to get too much calcium buildup, not only inside the boiler, you're going to get calcium buildup on your water sensor, which we described this water sensor in our introduction video. And then you're also going to get bits of calcium that can break off and float throughout the inner components of the machine, which we don't want. We don't want it getting into your solenoid valve. That's a problem. If this gets blocked, you're not going to get steam coming out of your hose. If it gets into any of the small passageways, you're not going to heat right. It might fool the pressure sensor into overheating the machine. You might get very wet steam. You might get no steam at all. So we want the boiler drained, and we're going to go a step further. If you have not drained your machine in a very long time, or there's a little bit of issues with the machine, we might want you to take this water sensor out. Now this water sensor is located at the very top of the boiler, dead smack in the middle of all of our refill machines, the 125 and the 100. So there's two nuts. There's a nut at the top, which basically adjusts the rod. We don't want to loosen this. This is the lower nut with the threads that actually screws into the boiler. So to get to that, you have to squeeze the insulation on the top of the boiler to get a 12mm wrench down at the bottom, and then lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So we're going to go counterclockwise to get this out of the boiler. Now once this is out of the boiler, a couple of things we want to look for. We want to look for any kind of rust or buildup that's on the shaft. We don't want to see that. We want the shaft nice and clean and nice shiny metal. If this is very dirty, it's going to need to be sanded with either 100 or 80 grit sandpaper to bring up fresh metal. If there's a film on here, you can simply wipe it off with a clean towel, but if it's rusty or there's a film on it, we want the shaft to be nice and shiny. And then we would put it back into the boiler, carefully starting the threads without stripping anything, and trying to either get some pipe sealant on the threads or a little bit of Teflon tape so we do not get a leak. We want both nuts to be tight, we want this nut to be tight, we want this nut to be tight in the boiler. Once it's in, you're going to replace a single wire that goes to that tab. We need that wire to be hooked back up. Once you do that, we should be good to go, and that's the end of our maintenance. If we have to go further, if there's a problem where we're getting very, very poor steam, we might need to take this solenoid valve out, or we might need to replace this solenoid valve. Now, as a one-time shot, I'm going to replace this under warranty. If this gets clogged and becomes inoperational because of lack of maintenance, I'm going to do that once. After we do that, we're not going to do that under warranty anymore. That's going to be something that I'm going to have to charge you for because it's lack of maintenance. Now, in part 3 of our maintenance video, I'm just going to explain how to keep it clean and how we don't have to go to these extremes and keep everything within the machine very clean, keep the steam flowing freely, and not having any problems. So we're going to go to part 3 of our maintenance video, and hold on for that. This is absolutely the easiest part of all of it.